Hi, welcome to this week's edition of From Within. My name's Mark, the founder of Empowered. Today I want to talk about one thing. Somebody said to me over the weekend, so you've said what we shouldn't be doing, what should we be doing? Again, the reality is, if you're doing something that's super complicated that you need to practice every day, it's not going to work unless you are prepared to practice every day. If it doesn't immobilize him, it's going to infuriate him, is what we chatted about last week. So for someone that is not a regular martial artist or a trained combatant or is not practicing every day, whatever you do in a life or death situation has to be simple. And it has to be able to switch him off. Otherwise, it is going to make it worse. Now, unless you are super trained and you understand what a fight is, more than one thing is a waste of time. I've been doing karate for the best part of over 40 years. And I know from experience that to do multiple attacks, multiple techniques, multiple moves are very complicated. They're very difficult to get right. Now, if you're not training every day, you might as well just forget about that, because that is an absolute, it's never going to work. It's never going to be like it was in the course. It's never going to be like it was in training, because that's not the way life works. But what if you knew one thing? One thing that was simple, that you didn't need to practice every day, that could immobilize anybody. Would you want to know what that is? Of course you would. Now, if you knew that one thing, my question to you is, could you make a choice? And what do I mean by that? You see, in a life or death situation, there are only three things you can do: flight, fight, or freeze. And there are the only three human reactions to trauma. Now, the fight option, as I've said previously, fighting is an art. If you don't know how to fight, well, let me rephrase it. If you haven't been taught how to fight, you don't know how to fight. You might think you do, but you don't. Whatever you do that doesn't immobilize him is going to infuriate him. So I want to take the word fight out, and I want to replace it with the word immobilize. You see, if you know how to immobilize someone, you have an option that possibly you didn't have before. You see, in a life or death situation, as I said to you, only three things you can do: flight, in other words, leave; fight; or freeze. Fighting is an art. Let's replace fight with immobilize. Now, my question to you, if you knew how to immobilize someone, could you make a decision? Because right now, unless you know that, not you think, not someone told you, unless you know how to do it, you don't have all the options. In other words, you might think he's not good enough in a life or death situation. You need to know. You need to know. If you knew that you could immobilize someone, you would have all the options. You might still decide to leave. You might still decide to do nothing. But if you don't have this option, how do you make a decision? For me, I believe, unless you are a trained combatant, anything more than one thing is too much.